Yeah, it's no problem. Yeah, I don't know. You know, they must. Housing, transportation. But that's especially if you only need like, so basically what it is, 50 square feet living space for it's very mobile. Yeah, we use mobile parts. Yeah, you can't charge them rent. And then you either have to provide meals for them, or you have to provide them transportation so they can go buy their meals. So what we have you have to provide them 50 square feet and somebody cooking, you don't want to provide meals. They do. Because it's not to get to and from go by New Mexico. Let me see. Oh, in Texas. So each range falls under different classifications. Basically, what it is, and I'm going to be blunt, the government is going to want you to bring guys more expensive, but it's not like a prevailing wage. So in California, $13. My prevailing wage for Washington, I pay. Yes. But they're 30% more productive than the guys. I have like one of my large accounts. We bring 250 guys for several hours, and they are actually 50% cheaper, even after 3 days. Difference. I mean, everything. That's what I do. That's the thing. It's right around 20 bucks. And even if they're $20 an hour, his cost per bin is cheaper than we're both there. Or the great thing is that I go out and recruit. So I recruit specific guys that know how to do it. Oh yeah, I'm always flying to Mexico and recruiting guys and guys that don't do the job. Say for example, if you look at guys that never clean those, I'll go to the race course in Mexico and I'm getting groomed or actually groomed. This day is quasi. When you're the guys, don't forget, you know, yeah. So you might get a guy who's a hour, just say 15 more. So you can have to look at it. What am I hardest stuff? What am I hardest stuff in the world? So you can do it like this. Look at how much it costs you for 8. Look at how long it takes. No, you're right. You're right. Look at how much it costs you for 5. So I literally spent like 6 months just breaking numbers down, showing them like, look, what it costs you, and it should be costing you, but it doesn't cost you. Like, because a lot of my clients had a different mentality, different mentality. I think that's what it was costing. Yeah, it's great. And see, the reason these are contracts is because then they were lost. They'll come out to eat, right? Now, you're under a contract for whatever length of time you want to. Yeah. So it's an hour. So let's say, for example, like, minimum is 35. Or exactly. And then you have to guarantee that 75% of it. So you have to work 75% of that, or else you have to pay it. What's down last week? So it's really hard to get away from that one. You know, there's certain things. I think here in New Mexico, you still have that. California, they passed that 80, 30, where they basically nowadays more in the same room they have before they have to. So now you're when they did it, never happened. So there were a lot of big corporations like then they wouldn't pay me the wage, then they would fund it off. That is, they could just hire another one. Come in and do it. You know, so they can order like that. Now you guys are still on the federal law, but you guys still looking at the federal. I think the federal is still a disconnect. Whatever tells you this contract rate. Yeah, that's federal. He wasn't registered. He wasn't registered. He didn't have the right insurance. He didn't have 100,000 for seats. He didn't have seatbelts. Oh. Wow. So this takes a while. Yeah. So when you're wrong, I can do this for 20 years. And when I visited things, during the Obama administration, and you know, always kind of sad is that my friend was saying that they were at a conference, and you know, we have to and you guys nobody yeah, you don't see it much right now during this Republican, but yeah, should be doing this. Yeah. The wheel there was really,
They just yeah, I do I? Oh yeah,
That's why I said for Mexico now.
and our quality of work is so low. Look, there's only 4 horses in the state. I brought it years ago. They are everything. They're bears. Brought it here. Yeah. Not all doom and gloom. We need it. What else? I don't see any legislation about that.
They were going to the wedding, he's flying in. Oh, Allie. Well, good. I didn't know if he's gonna. What's our area do? Well, you have to. Well. You're not a quitter. No. No.
How you doing? Great. Leave that water running before you can care to turn out. Did you?
Yeah. That's the wife's.
Everything good over there? I'm really concerned because we've had a unusually warm November, December, January. We had 6 or 7 inches of snow, 3 or 4 little powders. Now then. Yeah. Hi, how are you? Nice to see you.
Use my really good address. How's that going? Good. Yeah, nice land.
Yeah. That's one of the things where it is. I mean, I can
Dealing with him or his son.
Yeah, it's, yeah, I think you'll be okay.
Yeah. He studied right here.
What are you doing over here all by yourself? Are you monitoring the crowd? Thanks. Good morning. Great to see you. Good. Are you going to get nominated for the float? Come on. Just asking.
How are you? What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to pull out and what is
Oh, no, sir. Oh, well. Oh. Down south.
Coming back from the one just got.
So we get started in just a couple minutes. Thanks for your patience. There's still county processes you verifying. Hence the delay.
Oh, that.
You're good looking.
Yeah, where the and yeah,
Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started. I'm Dr. I'm President of the Next Horse Breeders. Thank you all for coming. Hopefully, we see well for everybody. Nobody looks too sleep deprived. Maybe just hide it well. Looks like we have a good crowd, and we sure know how to get a good crowd here, right? Put something controversial on the agenda, and y'all show up. I'd like to acknowledge quickly Chairman of the New Mexico Racing Commission is here, Ms. Beverly Bourget, would you stand and wave to the crowd? I know she's a little under the weather. We appreciate you showing up. Thank you for coming. And I'd quickly like to acknowledge the hard work of our intrepid staff, our Executive Director, Mary Barber, Registrar Ernestine Aragon, and Paulette Taylor. They work their tails off for us, and we really appreciate all you do. Thank you. As most of you are aware, at the last legislative session, thanks to, in huge part, to our past president, Ralph Benson, who's sitting next to his wife, Beverly, we were able to successfully pass some legislation that we feel strongly about benefiting breeders. We aligned our registration rules with the AQHA for quarter horses and thoroughbreds with Jockey Club, just kind of made it simpler and makes more sense. We also eliminated just a little arcane, but we eliminated a sort of a, like I said, arcane fiduciary bond that we were required to carry. And thankfully, the legislature agreed with us, and that saved the association about $20,000. We also required membership in the association in order to be eligible for awards, which mirrors other states. And we felt those are the fundamental issues of fairness. If you're going to get an award, you should be a member. And that also helped our bottom line as well. But most importantly, I think, we changed the awards, and it was in statute that we had to change. But now, first, second, and third place are eligible for awards, not just first place. That was a pretty significant deal. And credit to Candy Azell, our representative from Roswell, and a huge friend of the industry. We couldn't have done it without her. And again, Ralph. And I don't know if any of you, how many of you, I know Susan Viscopa knows, but prowling the halls of the Roundhouse, shaking hands, explaining the issues to all these legislators is a lot of work and not easy to do. But again, thanks to Ralph Vincent for helping guide us through that process. We were able to successfully get that done. So thank you again for that, Ralph. Jay Taylor is going to do a summary of the treasurer's report, and I just want to give a quick shout out to Jay. I think probably Jay is his fair within like 5 years ago. We were in pretty bad shape financially as associates. And Jay has gone through the numbers, made the numbers understandable to the board and to the staff. And by understanding those numbers, we were able to put this association on a firm financial footing. We are in much better shape than we've been in a long time. And a lot of credit for that goes to Mr. Taylor. And again, he'll be addressing the treasurer's report, summarizing it, and a copy of the treasurer's report is available for everybody. You should have one in front of you. And if you have questions for Jay, feel free. Quick mention about this board. This is a very engaged board. They all work very hard. They're all volunteers, giving up their time. We don't always disagree. We have lively but civil discussions, which I feel is pretty important. If we all agreed, we probably have a problem. But this board is diligently trying to work on behalf of you all, the membership. And to that point, when the board submits a ballot initiative for the members to vote on, we're not necessarily endorsing the merits of that issue. We just think it's an issue that should be brought to you all to decide. The board doesn't decide. The board isn't necessarily unanimous in their approval of these particular measures, but we are in general agreement that this is an issue important enough. It doesn't violate statute. It doesn't damage the association financially, but we think it has enough value that you all, the members, should decide, just so that's understood. The board meetings are open to all members, and if you want to attend, you're more than welcome. If there's an agenda item that you'd like the board to discuss, please tell us in advance, and you'll get your chance to address that, whatever issue it is that you have in mind. So we're open and welcoming, and anytime you want to be there, we encourage you to attend. The Andersons are here from Bozeman, Montana. Y'all can stand. Don't be shy. They've made a giant commitment to New Mexico. Not only did they move that super nice corridor, Jet Black Patriot, to our state. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you also buy some property too in Tularosa? Yeah. And moved a bunch of mayors down here? That's a significant commitment. We appreciate your vote of confidence, and we wish you guys all the success in the world. Welcome. They've also donated, I think everybody should have got a ticket when they came in. They donated a breeding to the horses and door prize. And good luck to the lucky winner. Susan Hunter is here from Hunter Creek Farm. Susan, you mind standing? She's got a really exciting new horse, Kentucky Wildcat. He's by Tappet out of the Ghost Snapper Mirror. Do I have that right? Pretty nice horse. And Susan was also gracious enough to donate a breeding to him as a door prize as well. So thank you, Susan. And I think most of you all have signed up, people that wanted to speak. If you haven't yet, please do so. We're going to limit public comment to five minutes apiece. We'll get to that later on the agenda. All I ask is that you please be civil. Don't throw things. No personal attacks. I can hide behind this thing, I guess, if I duck quick enough. But we all want to give you guys a chance to speak. So if you haven't signed up, please make sure you have. Okay? And it's members only, by the way. So, I guess I'll turn this over to our Executive Director, Mary Barber.
Welcome and thank you for coming today. The 2019 and 2020 members were sent a notice of the annual meeting and agenda items along with the sample ballots on December 31st, 2019. Due to the high cost of postage, only one notice was sent to each address. All members who paid their 2020 membership dues by Wednesday, January 15th, were mailed proxies. All members were properly notified by mail in accordance with our association bylaws, Article 4, Section 4, which states, notice shall be made no less than 5 days nor more than 30 days prior to the meeting. Notices were mailed on December 31st. We have 686 members who paid their dues by the deadline of January 15th, 2020, which was the final day for dues payment in order to be eligible for voting privileges. We would need 69 for a quorum. There are 82 eligible members present, and we have 127 valid proxies for a grand total of 209. And we do have a quorum.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jay Taylor. I don't believe they gave me the microphone. So I'm going to go through our basically treasurer's report, try to summarize it a little bit this year. not reading word for word. The first page of our report is our investments. You can see we cashed out 3 investments during the year and reinvested in other investments. Our investments weren't doing much. Since mid last year, the American Balance Fund has made 7%. The First Trust, the very first one, has made 14%. We also cashed out our money market fund that was making less than 1%. We now have it in a fund that's earned 2.1%. This is a comparison only between 2018 and 2019. If you look at that comparison, you'll see that we increased in net worth, basically $115,472. We'll be adding another $50,000 to our investments out of our general account this year. So financially, the last few years we've been doing good, really good. Next page, that covers our revenue and our spending. As you can see at the top, we went up in revenue this year from $377,000 to $396,000. And that revenue is just what's generated from the dues, the registration, and our normal business. The last couple of 3 years, this board's done a lot of work, and they put on the silent auction, and that's generated a lot of money. The stallion auction has generated money, and the big one is probably our export mare. Our export mare has generated a lot of money. So our total earnings this year were $489,334. As Tom mentioned, we were able to do away with the requirement for the fiduciary bond that we've been furnishing to the Racing Commission for a number of years. And it basically didn't insure us against anything but employee theft. We already had that covered. So under insurance, where we spend $30,000 a year, that will come down $20,000 next year. That's a big plus. The other big thing that you see on our spend sheet there is the amount that the computer expenses increased from $6,800 to $28,000. We're in the middle of a major computer overhaul, upgrade basically. We have a very specific program for the business we do, and we're upgrading that program, trying to make it run smoother, be less labor intensive, and we actually are about halfway through it. We had budgeted considerably more for this, but they didn't finish it this year. It'll finish next year. So bottom line is we spent $93,306 less than what we made. 93,000 at the bottom, 306 is a profit for the year. Hopefully next year we can get over 200,000. And just to show you what's been happening to the association, in 2006, the association earned over $611,000. Now that was just from dues and registration. That goes to show you how large our organization was at that time, how many courses we had being registered, how many paid members we had. So from 2006 to 2019, 13 years, we get down to this year. If it had not have been for the increased membership, which totaled about 17,000, we would have only made a little over 380,000, around 380,000. That's a big decrease. That's about a 35% decrease. That would have put any small business under. So we've done well about managing that and not going downhill so bad. The next sheet, page 3. That's our breakage account first enhancements. The top part of that where it says breakage account first enhancements, that's just the balance in those accounts at that time. We manage a large number of accounts, and that money goes into them and it comes out by transfer. We actually don't touch that money in that we can do anything with it except transfer it from one account to the other until it gets to the account that the checks come out. So that's the balance as of 12/31/19, and that'll change. It's already changed. And below are the PERS enhancements. I'm not going to go through these. You can see what they are for each track. That's page 3 through 6. And we use that money to do these PERS, these states enhancements. And that's something that we work each year with the tracks. Mary and the board work with them to establish these. Page 7, unclaimed ticket account. Again, the section at the top is just the balance that was in those accounts at the time. Down below is what we had committed to overnight stakes races. Again, I'll let you go through that yourself, and that's another thing that Mary plays a big part in, and the board working that out with the tracks. They try to anticipate the amount of money they're going to earn so that we don't have a big excess in these bank accounts at the end of the meeting. We want to get everything allocated out before it comes, or as it's earned. Okay, page number 8. That's the total distribution of the association in New Mexico bred overnights. So what you're seeing there is the total amount we added to New Mexico Reds and overnights, and on the whole, it went up. The one that kind of jumps out is the Sunland Park one. Looks like it went down, but Sunland Park underestimated their earnings, and they had to do a retro at the end of the year. So there was more money paid to the breeders in that retro than would be shown here. So, but overall, that went up, and all that is based on the gaming money that we get as it continues to grow. Our purses and what we add will continue to grow. Page 9. That's New Mexico Breds and Overnights and the 10% Breeders Awards. The New Mexico Breds in the open races, the open overnight races, are actually doing real well. They're about 1 out of every 3 entered now is running first, second, third. Quarter horses have always performed pretty well in the opens, but the thoroughbreds are starting to be fairly competitive in the opens also. They earned $91,618 in open races. The second part there is the 10% Breeders' Track Awards. There's not much to add there, except that it does indicate that we are still losing race days. And that affects everything. As we lose race days, we're going to lose breed races, and we're going to lose opportunities to race. So that's something that we work on and the horsemen work on, but we have to continue to work with the racing commission and show that these tracks aren't separate from the casino. It's a one business. And as long as the total thing is making profit, they need to continue to support our racing. Casinos, most of them will want to cut that down. They want less days and continue to lobby for it, and we need to continue to battle. Page 10, incentive funds and PERS enhancements. The top part of that, you can see what we gave out in the year. So the total amount that we distributed was $11,614,969. That was between us and the track. Our total was $10,317,000. You can see the difference in the membership between 2018 and 2019. That goes back to what Tom was talking about. We were able to get this, actually get it into statutes. What we originally looked at was trying to get some type of a processing fee for non-members. Well, they actually put it in the statutes that you have to be a member of the Horse Breeders Association now in order to get a check. A lot of people were getting checks, and they were contributing basically nothing to the association itself. That's not the case now. And that's an increase of 203 members. So that one change alone added about $15,000 to our income. The second part is registration. Shows you what we registered for New Mexico breeds. Difference between 2018 and 2019. And they're showing a decrease of minus 66. But I'm not sure how much. I know the Quarter Horse Association has been having problems. I think that number is going to come up. I think we'll probably have, hopefully the zero's out, or we actually show an increase in registrations. There should be some late ones coming in. But we're getting them in. And also, one thing that kind of jumped out at me is the New Mexico broodmare registration actually increased quite a little bit in 2019 from 2018. And just kind of an interesting fact, when you look at the stallions, there are over 200 active stallions in the state of New Mexico right now. And that could go up. It's a pretty small book of mares. All right, the next page, page 11, or 10 and 11 is more about the registration. It gives a breakdown, a little more detail. If you look at the bottom of the page, you'll see the export mare breakdown. And we have gone from 90 to 112 on the export mares. The export mare program has contributed quite a little bit of money to the program here. And I think it's given an opportunity for some of these sport mares to remain in the program and continue to produce breeds, which we need. We need them to fill races. And I think it's probably brought a few in that wouldn't be here anyway. So I think that's actually been a plus for the association. I don't know. I know it was a controversial issue, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. Page 12 is just the gaming revenue. And again, this is just what the balance of these accounts were on 12/31/2009. So you can kind of see what's in there. The difference at the top between 2018 and 2019 was just how those funds, the timing of when they were allocated. It's not that the gaming first fund dropped that much. It's just timing. The whole thing is showing the balances here. I can't really derive much out of it because it's going up and down. To me, it's like asking my wife how much is in the bank account. She says, I don't know, but last week we had $100. This is what this is. This is how much we have. All right, page 13 and 14. These are just the distribution, the award distribution allocation. It's how we allocate it out. Page 13 is from September 22nd to June 9th, because it changed after June 9th. So the next page, page 2, picks up from June 14th through September 20th. It also has the one quarter horse day in there to include. And the difference is that the breeders' awards now take first, second, third. If you check the 2 pages, the difference is you got it in the breeders' awards now pay first, second, and third, the same as the owners' awards. 2013, I'm sorry, page 15. This shows breed races, and how many we had, and what we had for a total. And if you look like on the first one there in Sutherland Park, bottom line over the right where it says plus 73, that means by rule, each track has to run 3 breed races a day. They ran enough over that they were 73 breed races over during the meet, 3 a day. So they had a 3.97 per day. They almost ran 4 a day. This is a good. Unfortunately, there's a bad that goes with it. If you look down, our average of all the tracks, instead of 3 a day, was 3.86 per day. And it meant that we ran 222 breed races above the 3 a day, which is total amount. So on the 3 a day rule, we're doing pretty good. Unfortunately, the bad news is If you go to the next page, there's another breakout of breed races. And it also shows the loss in days. We continue to lose days, so I think everybody knows that. We try to get that turned around. But if you total the breed rate, the breed races that we had in 2013 against the ones that we had in 2019, at Sunland Park, we're down 71 breed races. At Sunray Park, we're down 73. At Rio Doso Downs, we're down 20. At Albuquerque, we're actually up 30. And at Zia Park, we're down 76. For a total from 2013 to 2019, 6 years, we lost 200 breed races. I'm not sure what all we need to do to get those back. There's a number of things we need to look at and try. One of the things we definitely need is to keep our numbers going. The other thing, real quick, that was out there, I did pass out a copy of our budget. We started this budget 4 years ago, 3 of the 4 years. Now we've showed a profit. We spent less than what we had budgeted, which is a good thing. Hopefully we can keep up on that. We're fine tuning it. The budget's getting better all the time. We're actually getting stuff cost to work along, so we're getting an accurate picture. Just a little bit about the export broodmare program, and then I'll get out of here. In 2018, we had a total of 90 mares that generated 45,000. In 2018, we had a total of 87 mares generated 45,000, including a $2,000 penalty. In 2019, we had 111 mares that generated 7,000 plus a penalty. Over the past 3 years, the program has netted the association 147,000. This was kind of set up to try to help the thoroughbreds a little more, increase numbers, but actually the quarter horses are using it a little more than the thoroughbred people. We have them from all states, Colorado, Arizona, Texas, Utah, even Kentucky. And I think that's good advertisement that people are putting the horses here at Breedlove. Anyway, when this came up 4 years ago, we said we would review the program. So, and it was a controversial issue when it came up. So there's members out there that are still against it. We need to present it to the board, and we can present it to the membership again. That's the way it works. Any questions on the report? Any reason I can stand up there and talk a little more? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. And again, appreciate all your hard work on these issues. It's vitally important, maybe not exciting, but certainly vitally important. Now I'm going to need an acceptance of the treasurer's report, and that includes all members that are in attendance by voice vote. I need a motion to accept in a second. And second, please. Go ahead, a second. All those in favor, that includes John, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Questions, comments? Motion passes. Thank you. And next item is to determine the date of next year's annual meeting. The staff is recommending Thursday, January 28th in Albuquerque. And again, I need a motion and a second, please. Jay Taylor, and do we have a second? We got a second. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed? Discussion? Motion passes. Thank you. I'm going to read the bylaws regarding nominees. A nominee for trustee must declare to the board of trustees whether he's a thoroughbred breeder or a quarter horse breeder upon his nomination. A nominee for trustee must have been a member in good standing during the 12 months preceding the nomination. And now we'll entertain nominations for new trustees from the floor. Flacco.
I nominate Nancy Summers.
Nancy Summers, thoroughbred. Okay, thank you. Norma.
Norma Alvarez, I'd like to nominate Carol Durden for the club.
Carol Durbin, quarter horse. Thank you. I'm sorry, Sandy. Okay, Mike Cadell. Are there any others? Okay, thank you. Nominations are closed. And we have verified that all our members in good standing as pertaining as described in the bylaws. Thank you. Okay, and then we'll ask the nominees to say a few words regarding their involvement in the industry. Why don't we start with Mac Murray?
Well, I've agreed to run. I've been on the board for several years. I think we've
Turn on your microphone.
Yeah, push the button.
Okay, anyway, so we're good.
There.
Okay, now's it working?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I've been on the board a number of years. I think we've accomplished a lot of good things. One of the things that I'm very proud of, and we've got to give Ralph a lot of credit for that, is our legislative changes. And just one clarification, the first, second, and third, that's only for the year-end awards. The 10% that comes from the racetrack, that's still just for the winners. So just so everybody is not confused with that. But I'm really proud of what we've done with that. I think the other thing that has been needed to be done for a long time is, we were able to get that done through statute, is to change that for someone to get an award, a breeder's award, they have to be a member of our association. And I and a lot of other people have personally been involved in other states and other associations, and I think we're the only one that you've never had to be a member to get money. And I think that was a really big deal. Getting back to the export program, we put that into our association, I don't know, 3 years ago. And many of you may have heard Jay's comments. Last year, there was 70 quarter horses and only 40 thoroughbreds that took advantage of the program. And I think when we initially did that, it was proposed by some thoroughbred people from out of state who wanted to come in, breed the mares here, and take them home. And now this new thing has come up about taking thoroughbred mares out of the state, breeding them to an outside stallion, or going outside and buying a mare. And I've tried to be kind of neutral on that particular subject. But after going to the Heritage Sale and talking to some of the people from Oklahoma and Louisiana, they think that's really hurt the program. And we're still an association of both quarter horses and thoroughbreds. We don't own any thoroughbreds, but I think we've got to all stick together on this thing. If we lose more days, if we lose, and I just think that anybody that's a thoroughbred breeder in New Mexico, if they want to increase their output, they do just like some of the quarter horse people do. Just go buy some mares, They want to buy a stallion. And I think one of our issues has been maybe stallion power. Maybe there needs to be higher powered stallions in the state, and that's worked very well with quarter horses. Anyway, I would appreciate your vote, and hopefully we can move on and get some more things done. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mac. Bill Shepherd?
Yes, I'm Bill Shepherd, and I was on for 2 years on the quarter horse side, and I'm switching over to the thoroughbred side. Probably one of the main reasons that I'm switching to the thoroughbred side is there's been a lot of controversy on the importing thoroughbred mares in, bred to outside stallions, and I am adamantly against. And I think we just need to stick and hold together on everything that we've done. The quarter horse side has always been strong as far as breed, quarter horse breeds, competing with the open quarter horse, and have done really well. And the thoroughbreds are getting some stronger, and it's just about getting mare power and getting new thoroughbred stallions in the state. And we've had a couple of great bred thoroughbred stallions come to the state. And there's opportunities to bring thoroughbred mares in and leave that thoroughbred baby an open baby. And when I started back 30 some years ago, the thoroughbred at Ruidoso, the New Mexico bred sale, used to have open thoroughbreds. And I had a partner, and we was bringing some in from Florida, like in those days with OBS sales, and was pinhooking the weanlings to yearlings. And there's still something that anybody could do, and I think we need to have the thoroughbred numbers up, and we can do that if the Ruidoso sale company would entertain having open thoroughbred yearlings along with the New Mexico bred yearlings, and hopefully enhance the buyers coming in, and the prices should go up tremendously with that in mind. And I would appreciate your vote.
Thank you, Bill. Norma Alvarez.
Good morning. Good to be back with my people. I've been on a forced vacation for a year. But my love is here with you, and it's been amazing all these years. I was on the board for 14 years, and I didn't even realize I was on it that long when I got off. And I'd like to serve again if it's your pleasure. And the two issues that I hope that we get past is the reforming the way we vote. Because it always leads to these little coups and, the proxies, and it's just, it makes it unfair. And we always say, I always felt real bad because we always said on the board, we're very interested in how our members feel, and we wanted to hear their voices. Yet at the end of the year, all this shenanigans go on, and they don't get to vote. And most of our people out there are working people in New Mexico. So it's very hard for them to take off from work. For me, it's a $250 day to come up here, and we have to spend the night another $200. And that's quite a commitment to vote. So I hope we get to vote from home, like most places do, most organizations that we belong to do the proxy from home. So if people are worried that it's going to be something they can cheat on, but it's not. It's one person, one vote. So I'm really passionate about doing that because ever since I joined this organization, I hated the way we vote. And I think we need a democratic process. Also, these ideas that they brought up, they're not pandering for votes, and I say to them, I commend them for the board that they're not, they're brave. They're brave bringing all this up. But it's just stuff to put out there to see if we can, because we're going to have a lot of challenges going forward. I also am serving on the HOH Engagement Committee. I've been on it for 2 years. And I see things coming down the pike, and there's a lot of challenges that we're going to be from animal rights. We're gonna have new medication rules, it looks like. So there's gonna be changes. And also the money that Texas has now, they're running that extraordinary, like 30,000 for a day and 36,000. So we're gonna have those challenges as well. We have, and one thing I'd like to throw out there, I've been looking at we have looked at it on the prior year, is the percentage that the year-end award pays for stallions. And we have the lowest in, all the state bred programs. We have 7.5%. Oklahoma's at 16%, and Louisiana's at 10%. So I think if we can maybe figure out a way to raise that and try to attract very commercial stallions to the state, the commercial will follow, the policy will follow. But I think we have to be very competitive that way. So appreciate your vote, and I hope I'm certain.
Thank you, Norma. Mark Brown?
Hi, I'm going to turn and talk to these people because that's the membership. You guys are the leaders. My name is Mark Brown, and my wife, Peggy, and I, we've been involved in the horse racing business around the country for years. We're new to the state of New Mexico. We moved here last June on that, and I currently am the chairman of the NMHBA Racing Committee. I also serve on the council on that, so I got a wide range of views from around the country. I've run horses in Idaho, Nevada, Utah, Wyoming, California, Arizona, and Texas. And I run my first horse here in New Mexico. We were in the challenge races. Some of you guys came and support us on that. But Mexico, we moved to Mexico because of the breeding program here. I've got a partner that's helped our place in that. He was one of the owners of the wild park. His name's Harry Medicine, and he runs thoroughbreds. So in our place, we've got both breeds in that there. And no matter what you want to say, we're all in this together. We're on the national, locally in that. And if we don't work together and keep things going and think outside the box, the industry is going to be in trouble in that. Laura mentioned the things that we're going through with the NMHBA and with the national policies. And you might not think that New Mexico do that, but I'll guarantee you this Integrity Act that's going through, that's getting shoved down our throats nationally, will shut probably half the tracks in America down if that gets through as passed. And so there's a lot of different problems that we have to address. That's one thing that I really bring to the table, and that is I'm not just New Mexico in that, even though I did run my first New Mexico bred horses here last year. We was part of your import program. We sent horses down, bred some, we took them home. There's a way for us to be part without the expense of leaving the horses here. That so New Mexico's got a lot of things going. I like it, the whole industry. We got problems in that. Thoroughbred problem you have here, it's nothing that isn't nationwide. I think that I read a report the other day. Thoroughbreds in 2007, the Jockey Club registered somewhere close to 38,000 colts. They're estimating that their numbers this year are 20,000. So the number of thoroughbreds in that, it's an industry problem. It's not just in New Mexico. Well, we have to figure out how to get the horses here. We got neighboring states. Arizona doesn't have very good purses, but we're not getting their horses over here to enter. They're running over there for less purses, and Arizona's got a lot of problems. So we got to figure out some way of bringing more people in to fill the races, because we can't keep giving up dates now at the racetracks. It's unacceptable for a horseman to have the opportunity to get a return on their dollar.
Thank you, Mark. Carol Durbin.
My name is Carol Durbin. I've bred horses in New Mexico for more than 20 years. I've raced probably longer than that. The reason that I agreed to go ahead and try to get on the board is I'm semi-retired now. Most people don't know me. I have a business at the racetrack for the last 20 years, selling people. And I appreciate the vote. If any questions, feel free to ask me. I don't know exactly how to vote until I figure out what's on the agenda. Then I'll work with the members and do what they want. Appreciate the vote. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Franklin, Warren Franklin.
Hi, my name is Warren Franklin. I'm an equine veterinarian in Reyes, New Mexico for the last 33 years. My family's been involved with New Mexico racing for approximately 50 years, and myself, the last 15, have raced, bred, and sold thoroughbred and quarter horse yearlings. I have a hard time really understanding how the importing the pregnant mares as far as the thoroughbreds is really going to help the general population of New Mexico horse breeders. I think that probably goes back that there will be some select few that are able to really accomplish their goals by buying those mares. The rest of us have been struggling and breeding for years. When we finally get to that place where you can actually sell yearlings and race good babies, it's hard to know that you're going to have some really serious competition from out-of-state horses. So I'm definitely against the import rule. I also agree with Norman in that we probably need to do something a little different with the process. I do think there's ways that we can document votes simply getting motorized and not have to bring in a herd of votes in order to play the game. I hope that again on the board I can represent some of the smaller breeders, especially the girls that will appreciate it.
Thank you, Warren. Helen Nave.
Hello, I'm Helen May from Hodge, New Mexico, and I've been breeding and running thoroughbred race horses for about 12 years. And I support the New Mexico horse farms, and I think that the new ruling would be detrimental to the horse farms here. Do my best to represent all the members.
Thank you. Nancy Summers.
Hello, I am a longtime New Mexico resident, was born and raised here, as was my father. He started with one brood mare probably 30 years ago. I have 3 now. Tony Pickard and I, my significant other raiser. I'd like to get on the board and try to help the issues that we have. I think everything's sort of on an upswing. I think we've had some ups and downs, but I do remember when we were racing for a top first 2700, I rode for 33 years and raced for a lot of years for that. So what we're racing, the kind of money we're racing now for is a big change from what it was. So I think if we all stick together and as a team and work together, I think New Mexico is a great place to race. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Mike Cadot.
Good morning to everybody. I'm Mike Cadot. Been on the board for 16 years, haven't been on the last 4 years. I was asked to run again. I was president for 7 years on this board. I am not in favor of the proposed amendment as far as the horses are concerned, but if we do it, we should probably do it for both breeds. If we're going to open up the borders for one, we ought to do it for the other, because we are one association representing both breeds. So I am against it. And as far as the vote is concerned, as far as voting for, I believe getting rid of the proxies probably is a good idea. So everybody gets one vote only. There's no cliques or groups of people that try to represent push this foundation or this deal into one kind of idea. I think by changing the rule, we are missing the intent and the spirit of the people who designed this program in the beginning. People move here because of the program. Like this gentleman here, That, a lot of other people moved here because of the New Mexico Bay program the way it is. It is a success. There are some tweaks that we can do, but opening it up to let everybody have a mayor, whether they go take them to Kentucky and reach American Pharaoh is wrong. We can bring good mayors here. We can go to the sales and also buy a good mare with a well-bred baby inside, run open, and then run breeds with our own breeds. That's my feeling. I hope you'll vote for me, but like I said, I've been on the board for 16 years and was president for 7, so I think I know what's going on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. The last, I've served on the board for a number of years. We moved here. You know, we worked for Mr. Hubbard, R.D. Hubbard, most of you folks know that. And he wanted to take advantage of the New Mexico bred program as well. So he asked my wife Leslie and I if we would be willing to relocate from Kentucky to New Mexico, build a farm, move some of our mares from Kentucky to New Mexico. We acquired a stallion, Attila Storm, who's standing in the state, as most of you know. And of course, as most of you are aware, he is also a large quarter horse breeder. My wife and I are the quintessential small breeders, definition of a small breeder. We have 2 thoroughbred mares and 1 quarter horse mare. So we have skin in the game as well. To Mr. Hubbard's investment, it was significant, obviously. I don't think there's another farm like it in the state. And until the storm in particular, spent a lot of money to acquire that horse. He was racing in New York when we bought him. We brought him here, and he's been a leading stallion for the last 3 years, I believe. His stud fee is $4,000. His average book, right down in the industry, stands the horse, does a great job, by the way, is about 40 mares, and 8 or 10 of those are ours. And he's the leading stallion in this state. I think Mr. Taylor went through the numbers. There's over 200 stallions in this state. He made reference to book sizes. Folks, there's just not enough mares, not enough thoroughbred mares. And if you go to the breed sale, and if you want to be just honest with yourself, if you're a buyer, and you look through the thoroughbred section of that breed sale, how many catalog pages would you turn down just based on pedigree? 8, 10? That's probably it. And out of that 8 or 10, how many are going to meet your requirements upon its physical inspection? Maybe half if you're fortunate. And then following vetting, how many of those are going to pass? It's tough, and it's just not very appealing. And there's no way we're going to get out-of-state visitors to come to this sale unless we improve the quality of that catalog. And that's just part of the equation. So the idea that was put forth, and it wasn't my idea, by the way, or Mr. Hubbard's for that matter, let's look at some creative way to boost the numbers for quality and quantity. And how do we incentivize that? So hence we came up with this particular idea. Like it or not, that's why you're all here. You can vote for it if you think it will help. You can vote against it if you don't think it will help. And one thing I might add is, I've heard reference to this. I saw some of this stuff on Facebook. I should know better than to read the comments, but I do it anyway. Reference to folks buying mares in full of curling. My boss was named by name. Mr. God just mentioned somebody buying a mare in full of American Pharaoh and bringing that mare here. Well, if I can promise you one thing, we're not going to do that. And if somebody else did that, they need psychiatric help. It's just not going to happen. It doesn't make sense. Why would you buy it? Just what's curling stud fee, I think this year is $175,000. If that curling baby is running in New Mexico, you know why it's running in New Mexico? Because it can't run. So I just want, I cited an example. I'm not trying to be flippant, but it just doesn't make sense. It's not realistic. One final thing I think I need to add to dispel some rumors, especially this was prompted by some of the stuff I saw on Facebook, how this program is going to benefit the big guys, and I was called that by name, and my boss was called that by name. I'm reluctant to do this in public forum, but the word's getting out, so I'm just going to address it head on. Mr. Hubbard's in poor health and has been for some time. And because of that, the Hubbard family is doing some estate planning, He's gonna have a complete dispersal of all his horses Labor Day weekend this September. And the farm's gonna go up for sale as well. So for those of you folks that consider him a threat, well, we're gonna lose a guy, at least a guy's input and financial investment into the state that shouldn't be discounted. I challenge you to name somebody that's done more for the state of New Mexico racing than Mr. Hubbard. So it's uncomfortable for me to mention this, but I want to just dispel that rumor. Now, as far as me serving, that's up to you all. I think folks that know me, certainly people on the board that I've worked with, know that I work for the industry at large. What's best for New Mexico? That's what I care about. That's why I go to the commission meetings. I go to the rules and medication meetings. That's why we fight for race dates. Flocka was there. We actually joined with the horsemen this year, trying to battle specifically the downs at Albuquerque. We ended up losing, but that fight's not over, and we need to keep fighting. So, bottom line is, I'm going on a little long, and I apologize for that, but my motives are what's best for racing in general and breeding in particular in New Mexico. And I appreciate your vote, and I'm willing to serve if it happens. So, thank you. Any questions for any of the nominees from the audience? Really? There's one. Janice. Janice, you're going to have to speak up or come up to the microphone. Janet, I'll repeat the question for Janice. For those of you that can't hear, she's asking Norma. I think you're referring to the rule regarding thoroughbred mares. Norma, you have to go first.
Okay, as for me, I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't have a thoroughbred. I don't want a thoroughbred. And I don't think it's fair for me to slide a thoroughbred. It was specifically for thoroughbred. So my personal vote is empty.
Okay, Janice, I think wanted all the nominees to address it if you haven't already. Mr. Durbin, I think she mentioned you by name, if you don't mind.
Regarding the thoroughbreds, I think we need better mares. And it's going to get them right back to the Mexico stallions. So it's going to benefit you where you're going to get more mares in there free.
Thank you. I think pretty much all the other. Nancy?
I believe, I hope we bring better mares into the state, and I would bring them New Mexico bred studs, but I don't believe the baby and belly to be able to be New Mexico bred and race against the rest of the bred New Mexico bred.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that didn't address it directly? I thought I made that really clear. I'm sorry, I am for it. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Ellen, do you have a? She did address these actually. Yes, she did. We covered everybody. Any other questions from the audience for trustee or nominees?
Tom, when you said you're for the other horses or you're against it?
I'm for it, Bobby. I think if we're not changing and we're not growing, we're falling behind, and we are falling behind. And as Mr. Taylor just mentioned, that is, if passed, it's a 3-year deal. It sunsets in 3 years, begins in 2020, if passed. And if it doesn't work, we can get rid of it.
I don't think I agree with that.
Okay, Mark Brown.
Mark Brown, yeah. I compliment people coming up with ideas. I don't watch that. I don't think it's a solution to the problem. I think it's like to take horses out of the company, it's shoulder cut open and go in there and spray wound, probably all instead of taking it to Dr. Franklin, get sealed up. There's things that, as I said, there's a whole national problem with shortage of thoroughbred mares and breeding that. So I don't really think it's a solution to the problem.
But I compliment people who came up with the idea because people have to think outside the box. I don't think that would be an issue with that anymore. Okay, any others? Any other questions for the trustees? Okay, so the staff will be assembling the trustee ballot. And our executive director, Mary Barber, will read the proxies for the record. Jim, glass of water.
Yes, according to the bylaws, we have to do this, so sorry. You might want to send an email or text or go to the bathroom, but I need to read the names of everyone who sent their proxy. So here we go. Barbara Bauer, Robin Draper, Marty Brooks, Jason Giles, Jill Giles, Carolyn Giles, Sarah Donaldson Rio, Mike Carson, Marvin Bean, Dina Sullivan, Deborah Key, Mark McCloy, Clifford Lambert Sr., Wayne Grissom, Richard Paul Jr. and J.B. Gilding, Harmon Racing Stables, LLC, Gail Brown, Renee Abdouche, Gary W. Clements, Chris P. Corrigan, Benny Woolley Jr., Michael G. Weatherly, I have a little problem with this one. Dilly Dilly Racing is Ann Senna, and she is present. So that one will come out. If you are present, we do not use a proxy. Dana Buchler, Ronnie Kellum, Jose Sanchez Martinez, Brian Mundell, Stacy Rainey. I have another for MJ Farms. Will come out. Matt Murray is here and he can vote. Dirk Jones, Max Grays, Jennifer Pierce, Thomas W. Pierce III, not the Tom Pierce on the board, it's his son. Athenian Racing Stables, Jose Rivera, EJ Farm, Teresa Marr, Tyrell Birkland, Donnell Eccles, Mountain States Equine Mary Cap, Jeanette Metter, Amanda Cherry, Jenny Morris, Galen Hill, Jim and Michelle Laird, Jim Laird representative, Ronald Cameron, Mindy Hubbard, Sean Hubbard, Glenn Berry, Randy, Linda, and Rebecca Shawla, Randy Shawla representative, Leanne Duree, Benny Smith, Melvin Swayze, Agnes Taylor, J. Truman Smith, Don and Shoya Young, Don Young, representative. Jeanette Young. Clifford P. Graham II. Deborah Ann Walker. William T. Walker. F. James and Donna MacArthur. Donna MacArthur, representative. Betty Marshall. Tony Cedillo. Richard and Tricia Yarbar. Tricia Yarbar, representative. Alex Cedillo. Harry Teague. Larry Teague. Byron Woodard. Okay, Bill W. Shepherd is present. This will come out. Good thing I know some of these people. And if I read someone's name and you see them here, let me know. Because we don't need a proxy if you are present. Okay, Linda Berry. Randy and Sandy Coleman. Randy Coleman, representative. Cody Burris. Randy Smith. L.M. Smith Land and Cattle Company. L.M. Smith, representative. Barbie Beer. Carol Addison. Western Livestock LLC. Stephen Rohrbach, representative. Rodney Brooks. Lonnie Vine. Chris Katuliak. Neil Major. David Bloomer. Joel and Ken Johnson. Joel Johnson, representative. Lola Willis. Cheryl Cox. Ronald Ulibarri. Kevin Burrell. Donna Reeves. Jane Lynn. Darcy Gallagher. Stephen Spence. Fincher Racing LLC, Todd Fincher. Linda Alexander. Justin Cribble. Suzanne Marty. R.D. Hubbard. Joan Dale Hubbard. Mitzi Using. Brandon Using. Drew Swayze. Amy King. Chris Alds. Sherry Michelet Snyder. Daryl and Jania Davenport. Daryl Davenport, representative. Lourdes Kane. J and SM Incorporated, Doug May. Sandra Barrett. David Barrett. Nancy Locke. Tony Phillips. Mary Robertson. William Robertson. Twin Spires Farm, Melissa QC. Josie Alvarez. That's the son.
Yes.
Seth Ferguson. Dan Delaney. Dan Newby. Sammy Stevens, Sammy L. Stevens. Dwayne Taylor. Sam E. Stevens. Kevin Piccolo. Roger and Melinda Holland. Roger Holland, representative. Creekside Farm. Brian Petty. Danny Stafford. Robert Munoz. Ginger Scott. Maureen Fincher. Lucky Six Incorporated, Johnny Knoll. Richard Ford and Fred Sorensen. Richard Ford, representative. And Shelley Spence. all of the proxies.
Thank you, Mary. Now I'm going to read the special items that are on the ballot. The first one is eliminating the requirement of a membership having to be submitted within 15 days prior to voting in person. The current bylaw is for any voting membership, dues must be paid no less than 15 calendar days prior to voting. The proposed bylaw change is for any voting membership, dues must be received prior to the start of the annual meeting. In other words, you could become a member by signing up prior to this meeting today, for example. The second one is eliminating proxies and allow mail-in ballots. Do you wish to replace Section 7, proxies in the current bylaws, with the following statement? Section 7, mail-in ballots. Members shall be entitled to vote at all regular or special meetings in person or by mail-in ballot in connection with all elections. Any member seeking to vote by mail-in ballot must do so in writing and must clearly print and sign their name on said ballot. The original mail-in ballot must be received at the designated address no later than the date specified on said ballot, or it will not be counted. Ballots will not be accepted by fax or email. If more than one ballot is received from a member, all ballots from that member will be voided. If the membership votes for this proposed bylaw change, the word proxy will be updated to the words mail-in ballot in Section 6-election. I've been asked to read a message from the association's attorney, Mr. Frederick Mower, regarding the proxy issue. He says, I concur with the association's determination that there should be an elimination of proxy votes. In too many instances, I have found in private organizations that the use of proxies is abused and allows a few members to exert an unfair weight on decisions that are made by the association. Conversely, allowing mail-in ballots is a much more desirable way to conduct business and assures that members can vote on issues without having to attend meetings on important issues. I'll move into the last ballot measure. The bylaw change for new, in quotes, thoroughbred brood mares. This bylaw change, if approved, would change the current definition of a New Mexico bred to include foals produced by a, quote, new mare. A, quote, new mare is a thoroughbred mare that is not already registered in the NMHBA mare program, but is owned by an NMHBA member and is in foal to an open, in quotes, stallion. A, the in-foal mare must be entered into the NMHBA mare registry within 30 days of the effective date of this change or within 30 days of the mare's purchase date, whichever date is later. B, the mare must remain in New Mexico to foal. C, if an in-foal mare is registered with the NMHBA after September 1st of the breeding year, the owner would have to pay the late fee of $350 in addition to the registration fee on the foal to become a New Mexico bred. Foals born in 2020 participating in this program will have this late fee. Foals born outside of New Mexico are not eligible for this program. D, the foal that results from the mare's mating breeding to an quote unquote open stallion is eligible to be considered an accredited New Mexico bred foal if the quote unquote new mare is bred back to an accredited New Mexico stallion and produces a foal in one of the following 2 years, and the mare has not been bred to an open stallion in either of those following 2 years. E, a mare may only qualify for the quote unquote new mare program once in her lifetime. F, this temporary bylaw amendment will automatically sunset after 3 years unless reapproved by a majority of the vote of the association membership. G, the New Mexico Horse Breeders Association may require copies of stallion breeding reports, affidavits, or any confirming information it deems necessary to ensure the rules of the program are followed up to and including farm visits.
Pierre, did you have a question or a comment regarding this? Is
No,
that clear enough?
It is now,
Okay,
yes.
okay, so that's satisfied.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Lowell Newmeyer. Lowell, you want to come up here so you can face everybody? Do you mind? Everybody welcome Lowell Newmeyer from the Reynosa Horse Sales Company.
Well, how's everybody today? I know the thoroughbred deal, that's a hot subject. And my opinion is you need to let these mares from out of state come in. Okay, and it might be Karen, like we was talking about, maybe an American Pharaoh or Uncle Mo or whoever. And we need to help our gene pool here in the thoroughbred. And there's no reason all these people sitting in this room can't go to Kentucky or Maryland or Florida or wherever and buy a good mare that's in foal to a good horse. Bring it into New Mexico. Make that mare New Mexico bred. I see no problem with that. And we need to increase our numbers, and we need to, our quality in the gene pool is just not increasing at all. I've been doing this 32 years. And I think maybe it might have gone downhill from 27, 28 years ago. And I just think that there's no reason that it can do any harm to us. I think all it can do is help. And does anybody want to say anything? Okay. What's that now? You what? It won't be the first time I've been mistaken. Probably not.
I go buy one mare, rear in, pull her out, or can I go buy 10
You got-
12 of them?
I'll answer that for Lowell. Basically, first, Mr. McKenna had a comment that he disagreed with Lowell in a nutshell. To your question, ma'am, you can buy as many mares as you want, but the mare can only be bred to an outside stallion once. It's one and done on that particular mare. You can buy as many mares as you want, or bring in as many mares as you want, I should say.
Only if the mare, like that, is here.
Correct. You got it.
So how do you know? And will that baby? Or do we have to wait to register the baby after the owner approves?
Good question. The mare would not be able to be registered as a wheeler unless you can prove that mare was bred the following year. No, you could. You could start the application, correct? And we would hold the application pending. That's okay. No, it needs to be understood.
So then I'm gonna have to register that original winner as a 2-year-old when the mare is finally bred?
No, you can submit an application for the baby as a nipple. However, we will not finalize the registration on that baby until you produce another baby.
For those that didn't hear, you could begin the application of that resulting foal at the weaning price, and that application would be held until you meet the rest of it. You're
registration, her question was, for those, and I don't want to get off the rails here, but I'll answer this question and let Lowell finish, okay? But her question was, how would I enter that poll in the sales sheet in that paper share, right? The paper would be, the registration would be pending. So there's workarounds for that, those concerns. Now, Lowell, Susan, I'll get to you, but let's let Lowell finish, okay?
I have a question for you. Well, what I would like for you to explain to us, that you are the sales guy, what would this look like for the sales company, and what impact would it have for bringing in out-of-state buyers, which we are lacking in the survey?
Did everybody hear Ralph's question? Ralph, you know better. Go to the microphone.
Well, because you know about the sales, what I would like to know is what is the impact of this on the sale? And would it help our thoroughbreds by bringing in some out-of-state buyers, which we are totally lacking at the current time?
Well, I think it would help tremendously. If we date back 25 years ago, I was selling thoroughbreds for more money than we're selling them today. Years. Why? We had out-of-state buyers buying. We even had people from Kentucky buying. He hit the nail right on the head. We had better horses. And the only way we can help our gene pool is with better mares, better stallions, and I just can't see the devastation of it hurting to bring in these outside mares.
I got a question.
Hold on. Susan, did you have a question for Lowell? Could you mind coming to the microphone, please, so folks can hear you?
Really, I think this question is as much for Lowell and the board. First of all, I'd like to tell Lowell 17 years ago about a horse, or I don't know, it was $1,500. She was at how much time? Michael Weatherly ran her through the sale. I bought her because of dosage. Her dosage points were through the roof. She's now had 5 babies to run, 4 stakes winners. Now, did I get, yeah, I got a really good deal on her, but I bought her because she was a New York bred. I got her because of her numbers. And I think I've gone to Kentucky and I've bought horses. And so I think to bring better mares in here, I think we are going to raise the bar. I know one of her babies last year, I bought it back for $50,000. So, you know, that's not pennies. But people that keep reading the $5,000, having $5,000 horses over and over again, yeah, they need to turn the light on because they're not doing things right. But I don't believe that bringing horses, open horses in here. But I do have a question for the board. And my question for the board is, if I did buy a horse and bring her in here, and let's say she had a baby, and somebody bought her from me, what happened? Can that baby be in New Mexico bred?
Only if the mare was bred back to New Mexico Stallion within 2 years.
So she was not bred back to New Mexico Stallion, then the baby would not be.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mike Doc.
Okay. This question really is, in the past years, not in the recent 5 years or so, but I remember I bought my first horse, one of my first horses down in Reynosa, where I bought a Candy Stripes mare from a gentleman who brought horses in from Louisiana. We talk about buyers coming to the sale. They're not just coming, if you open the sale to yearlings from other places, wouldn't you have buyers coming from out of state that maybe they buy a New Mexico bred also because they were there? And I remember going there and buying a Candy Stripe mare, baby, 2-year-old. The only reason I bought her is because I had a horse in Kentucky that it's not Winston, it was Presley McLean's at the time, stood Candy Stripes. So I wanted to go get a Candy Stripes baby. And that was at the New Mexico sale. So if you open the sale up to outside horses,
yearlings from other states, you'll have other buyers coming in from other states who maybe buy those horses. And that could solve some of the problem.
Thank you, Mike. Or was it Leslie?
I agree that we need more mayors. I don't believe that we need to bring in an open baby with the mayor. The mayor should come in and we can buy mayors and bring it to our stallions here. We've gotten a lot of nice stallions coming in, thoroughbred stallions, 4 or 5 brand new ones this year, they're nice. And we have good blood here, you know, Bernardini, Distorted Humor, horses that are really good. We just need better mayors. But to get better mayors, do we have to allow them to bring an open baby to run here with our New Mexico breds? I don't know. It is. This is all of us are together, thoroughbreds, quarter horses, right? We're all together in this association. If you're gonna let the thoroughbreds do it, don't you think you should let the quarter horses do it too?
Hey, Dylan, I'm gonna let you finish because really, I apologize. The rest of the stuff should be on open comment.
Okay, well, our sale dates are the 21st, 22nd of August. We're gonna sell, those in utero, just like we've been doing. Yearling, and you know, getting back to these thoroughbred yearlings, for the last 5 or 6 years, the most I've been selling is 100 head. So where are all these coats? Bottom line is they're just not there, period.
Would you be open to having open yearlings come in?
I'm going to.
The question was, would you be open to having open yearlings come in? The question was, why did we take them out?
Yeah, years ago, you know, I brought a horse here. The first babies we got were open.
I can't hear you,
If you remember many years ago, I brought a horse here named Chimes Band, and the first babies we had were open babies. We sold them years ago, and they sold good. So I guess my next question to you is, if we're gonna open this up and we're gonna start bringing mares and horses from out of state here, we need a place to sell them. So will you offer, you already indicated you're gonna offer yearlings, will you offer mares so we're gonna have to bring mares in, we gotta move them around. So we have an opportunity to sell mares at your sale, whether it's bring or open?
I should give that some thought.
Thank you.
Okay. Lowell, yes. Are you finished? Thank you very much. Lowell Newmeyer. Okay, we're gonna go open comments. We're gonna start. We have 15 minutes before we break for lunch, and we can continue this if we don't finish by the time we break for lunch. But it is a hot lunch, so at noon we're gonna shut this off. And again, it's limited to 5 minutes. Please be civil. Our first name on the list is Fred Danley. Fred, would you come up to the microphone, please? And these are comments, not necessarily questions, folks, so we can speed this along.
Fred Danley, been here a long time all my life. And I want to bring up the deals to make this, it was brought up that we're losing days in racing until the racing commission takes over. And that takes away from management. We're going to keep racing days. And I'm dead against bringing mares into the state. It was done a long time ago, and I can name 3 different guys that benefited from all of it. It put the little breeders out of business. I think the little breeders need to stay in business.
Ray Willis.
Thank you, Tom. I'm Ray Willis. Raised and run a lot of horses, served on your board many years ago. Thank you for getting the deal through where we have to pay if we're a owner of a New Mexico bred racehorse. That makes a big difference to you and our association. As far as this thoroughbred deal goes, I have a question. What if I go
pay $50,000 for a pregnant thoroughbred mare in Kentucky. The mare dies when she has the baby. I raise the baby. Is it a breed or not?
Would not be a breed.
Would not be a breed. So
No.
I have to trust that my mare is going to live.
Yes, sir. And breed back.
You ever had a mare die? I think that part of it's wrong. Because you left it open. Who knows what would take place, but you guys have done a good job. One other thing I would tell you, if you want more days, fill races. The commission has in the past and will work in the future. They'll have to, if those races are filled at the racetrack, or running a 4 and 5 horse field for $100,000 is not a good deal. And that matter, buy thoroughbreds and buy quarter horses, spend a little bit of money, and hopefully you come up with a good breed thoroughbred or quarter horse. I'll be there.
Thank you, Rick.
You feel like races, you'll start quarter horse.
Fred Alexander.
I said you can fill those races if they'll start like quarter horse races instead of 5 horse thoroughbred races.
Bobby, that's one of the things that we're trying to do right now. To level out the playing.
Morning.
Are we FaceTiming?
I forgot half the stuff I want to say. My daughter's having a Why are you here?
Yeah, what are you doing?
But I believe this rule change you guys are talking about, and I appreciate it. Y'all do a great job, something I don't care to do, so.
Yeah, I've only asked you about 10 times.
Appreciate your first. I take a little offense to people talking about quality. Quality of these New Mexico bred thoroughbreds has increased. You can ask some of these trainers compared to 10 years ago, what these racehorses can do now, night and day. The stallion quality has improved. I mean, I can speak for myself. Desert God, I mean, hell, he produced a world record holder, 19 races undefeated, Bear's Pride. And now he's a broodmare sire and graded stakes winners on the open company. He just hired a 2-year-old grade 2 winner, or a 3-year-old grade 2 winner at San Diego last week, 2 weeks ago. So the quality is here. Maybe you just need to look at the pedigree, look at the extended family. And I believe this change is only going to cater to the few people at the top that can. I take offense to what Cole said about everybody here can go to Kentucky and buy a mare and bring her back. No, everybody can't. The upper echelon guys can. That's the name of the game. They got more money. They can play at the top end. And to say that a Curlin can't come in here, that's not true. One of my biggest clients is Dale Taylor. He breeds. He's got a mare in Boulder Curlin. Why wouldn't he drop that Curlin here and dominate and make $500,000, $600,000 in these pre-races? It's possible. It can happen, and the breeds will not be able to compete with that horse. It'll kill the little guy, and it'll change my program. I've been bringing mares in, go back there for 20 years, plucking in mares, trying to bring them back, and but I take all my stuff to the sale. I sell every one of them. We don't do buybacks. I sell the cheapest ones because there's people that can only afford those kind of horses. And I sell the top end ones. Cater to everybody. It's open to everybody. That's what this program was designed for. To give everybody a shot. And if that thing's going to change, well, half of my mare population just go out the window.
and I'll only be able to buy the top end mares, but I won't be able to have the numbers. So you're gonna lose your numbers there. And this proxy is a complete joke. The system of voting is a farce. And today, it's hard to believe, and then today, this is the biggest proposal that's ever been brought before this board, this thoroughbred mare exchange, bringing in the thoroughbred mare. This is the biggest proposal that has ever been brought before this board, before this membership. And in the same meeting, we're going to vote to get rid of this proxy vote. It's hard to believe that we're going to allow that proxy vote to count without all the members' votes counted. There are people out there that didn't get a proxy. They don't have a vote. They can't be here. There's people from out of state that didn't understand how the proxy went, and they signed my wife's name up on top. She can't be here. She's with my daughter having a baby in Houston. Their votes don't count. They didn't know they weren't supposed to sign. Well, they didn't know she wasn't going to be here. So anyway, there are people that aren't getting the vote, and it's laughable to me, this proxy system, that people could be signed up without any skin in the game to sway a vote one way or the other and decide somebody's fate in their business. I think it's laughable. And I wasn't going to say it, but I'm going to say it because it's not going to ruin my day. I think it's chicken shit.
Yeah.
5 minutes left. Congratulations to the grandchild.
Good job.
Normally you'll be our last commentary.
I already spoke.
Okay, Danny, did you want to speak yourself? You can speak, turn on your microphone.
However this thing goes, I don't agree with Red on this being the biggest thing. I think the biggest thing was letting the horses go home to be full. That hurt a pretty big industry in here, the mare industry, fully mare industry, and taking care of them. However, we let it happen. I think we let it happen too damn cheap. For $500, those colts are eligible to run thousands of dollars for the rest of their life. But at the same time, people won't hesitate to pay $2,000 or $3,000 to run one futurity. But for $500, they could run money added races, nice purse races for the rest of their life. To me, that was a bigger deal than this. But anyway, if we do this one, getting back to this, I hope the hell we charge $5,000 at least. If someone else goes to pay that kind of money to go to Kentucky and get one trucked all the way back here and do all that stuff, another $5,000 to be able to run at that same pile of money, there ought to be a pretty good piece of change laid down. So I think we just prostituted ourselves out for nothing before.
Thank you, Danny. Bobby, have you signed up? All right, Bobby, we got 5 minutes left. You're probably the only one in here that doesn't need a microphone, but you're going to use it anyway. You bet.
Anyway, I don't agree with this, bringing those mares in. I do agree with the quality of mares need to be improved. Because one, I'm a quarter horse guy, so I really don't have anything to say about the thoroughbred side, but it seems like we are one group and we've got to be together. And this is going to migrate right over into the quarter horse field. And let's take it, Mike Abram, these guys right here, myself, Matt, all of us. We've got a lot of nice stallions here. But let's face it, we don't have a Judge Perry, we don't have a Colonel Cartel, we don't have a political jet. And our membership who race in New Mexico race there because they can go to the New Mexico bred sale and they can buy a horse for 15 or 20,000 and win a stakes race. But I'm going to tell you, there's going to be bigger fish in the pond. Like we got guys in Texas that do have horses. And you think they're not going to drop those political justices and those Corona cartels over here. So if they're just not quite good enough, they can still compete over here. And it'll be the same way in a thoroughbred deal, and it'll ruin your deal. And to discuss with you, for $500, those mares still have to foal in New Mexico. My mares that we're talking about over here, you say we hoard ourselves out, basically, to do that. However much percentage you go, I bet I had at least 30 mares. I put 15,000 of that or so into this program at 500 top. It would not be in here. And those mares, as long as your mares come over, and it may not be great for everyone, but it is improving the quality of the quarter horse. Do the same thing with a thoroughbred. Bring a nice thoroughbred mare over here, take her home, bring her back for 500, bring her to a New Mexico bred stallion. That's why it is New Mexico bred. And we need to stick to that. If we veer off that, we're going to be just like everybody else's program that goes to crap. Oklahoma's up there, they can do that every other year. Guess what? Every other year, you've got to breed the Corona Cartel. Big deal. I mean, so you're going to make me breed to Corona Cartel, or you're going to make me breed to Just Good Candy. And it's not the same thing. We're not even comparing apples to apples when we start talking like that. So I don't think it needs to go like that because in my point of view, we're going to drag it down. There's a lot of little breeders in here. And I don't think you understand how strong the other side of the fence is. I mean, Texans, we contribute a lot over here, and I'm a Texan through and through, but we've got a crappy program. I'm over here because I love New Mexico bred. I've raced it for years. We contribute a lot to it. But face it, if this goes the thoroughbred way, it will go the quarter horse way before long because it will follow it. We'll do dumb stuff like that. But in another subject on a proxy deal, I'm all for eliminating the proxies. But how are we going to? Those people are going to vote for the people who are announced on the floor. Like today, they're announced on the floor. They're not going to be on the ballot. So we got to address that if we eliminate the proxy.
And also, nobody, just quickly, then we're going to bring it. You'd be able to nominate bond man.
Okay.
So that addresses that. Thank you. Jay Taylor, a quick comment?
Comment. I've heard it a couple of times that we have to do the same thing for one breed that we do for the other. And that's not the way this board is set up, and that's not the way we manage. The issues for quarter horses are different than the issues for thoroughbreds. So, and we manage it differently. Otherwise, we would have never changed the breeder of a quarter horse because we didn't change it for the thoroughbreds. So we pass rules that are different all the time to benefit that specific breed. Two other things, just to comment on, because I don't know that I heard a little different. This rule is proposed with an automatic sunset in 3 years. So it goes away. There is no vote. It will go away in 3 years if it were to pass. I'm just trying to think.
KJ, what's your last point?
That's it.
Okay, Commissioner McKinney, you are first on the list after lunch. Okay, let's go to lunch.